This is your educational minute from the Forward Ed Network.
Because by the time we get into the second half of May, schools begin to feel different. The routines are technically still in place, but they do not always feel quite as settled as they did earlier in the year. If you walk through a building right now, you'll notice it in small moments. A class takes a little longer to settle after lunch. Students need an extra reminder before getting started again, and transitions that used to happen automatically suddenly just take a little more effort. None of those moments are huge by themselves, but they do start to stack together. And when enough of those little moments pile up, teachers can begin feeling like they're just working harder to maintain the same pace that they had just a month ago. And leaders feel it too, because this is often the point in the year where conversations start sounding very familiar. You hear things like, students are ready for summer, or maybe everyone just seems checked out, or we just need to get through these last few weeks. I mean, I've been counting down days now for 2 weeks. So I get it. And while there is usually truth inside all of those statements, there is also another lens worth considering. Because sometimes the issue is not that people are disengaged, sometimes the conditions around them are just simply changing. That matters because the way we define the problem usually determines the kind of response that we create. If the problem is teachers losing control, then the solutions often become pressure. Be more consistent, tighten things up, stay on students, keep pushing to the end. But if the problem is changing conditions, then the conversation becomes completely different. Now we are talking about adjustment. We are talking about responsiveness. We are talking about systems that help people recalibrate instead of simply powering through. And that shift matters because for a long time, schools have carried this quiet assumption about classroom resets. The assumption sounds something like this: if a teacher has to stop instruction and regroup the room, something must have gone wrong. Maybe nobody says it directly, but it sits underneath the surface. A teacher pauses to redirect focus, and somewhere in the back of our minds, we start wondering whether a stronger classroom management would have prevented this situation in the first place. The challenge with that type of thinking is that it creates pressure for teachers to keep moving, even when the room is clearly telling them that something needs attention. So instead of stopping for a moment, they just push ahead. They repeat directions again. They increase their volume. They start working harder and harder to pull students back into the lesson while the room just slowly keeps moving away from them. And eventually, a 2-minute problem becomes a 15-minute problem.